Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Friday, August 28th. This is your daily Buckeye Fix. I'm Tom Orr. There is a whole lot to talk about this morning. Ohio State just landed another big commitment last night. The Ohio high school football season starts tonight. There's a big protest planned for the Horseshoe this Saturday. A group of Nebraska players just took the Big Ten to court, and the conference's response was curious. With a lot going on, we are going to throw back my old TV news days and say, we have team coverage this morning. I'm joined by a pair of guests. We will get to Buckeye Scoop recruiting analyst Marc Givler in a second, but we will start with our beat reporter, Tony Gerdeman. A group of 8 Nebraska players filed suit against the Big Ten, asking to possibly have the 2020 season reinstated. Tony, you wrote about that on Thursday at Buckeye Scoop. Can you sort of explain what that suit is asking?
Well, they're asking to have to declare the Big Ten's quote purported decision to cancel the season, declare that invalid. They want basically an injunction against that decision, and they want to have the court basically force the Big Ten to not cancel the season. And also then there's this slight little nominal monetary damages of no more than $75,000 for breach of contract and tortious interference, which, Tom, is some legal mumbo jumbo that you don't need to, I don't need to explain that to you. We don't need to go crazy with that. But basically, they've done what a lot of people have been speculating would people do, and the players are saying that they've been damaged by this, and so now we've got a case. And the preliminary hearing was today, or actually it was on Thursday, was the judge hearing a little bit about it and giving the Big Ten some time to respond. So we'll see. But basically, it's players saying they've been damaged and they want answers. Obviously, they would like to have the season reinstated. But as every single person that we have talked to about all of this, they also want transparency. They want to know, basically, was there a vote? They're saying there wasn't. And so another part of the suit says if there is no vote, then the Big Ten cannot cancel the season. They can't do something this monumental, this detrimental financially to the conference without a vote. And while the Big Ten contends there has been a vote, we know that the president of Minnesota, I believe the president of Michigan State have stated that, we don't even think there was a vote. And so part of this whole suit is trying to get down to that as well. And it's what everybody wants. Every single media member on probably 11 or 12 of the 14 beats has put down some Freedom of Information Act requests on this, trying to figure out who voted, what voted, when voted, why voted, how voted, where voted.
Well, the Big Ten issued a statement in response to the lawsuit by Nebraska players. Came out Thursday afternoon. Stop me if this sounds familiar. Open quote, the Big Ten Conference Council of Presidents and Chancellors overwhelmingly voted to postpone the fall sports season based on medical concerns and in the best interest of the health and safety of our student athletes. This was an important decision for our 14-member institutions and the surrounding communities. It keeps going from there, but I believe the kids call that copy pasta. You may have heard that before. Much more interesting, though, was a response from the league's attorney. Sean Callahan from the Omaha World-Herald tweeted this. His tweet, I'm going to read it verbatim. Big Ten attorney Andrew Luger argues the, quote, harm would be incredible, close quote, if board of directors documents were made available to the public just because 8 student athletes disagree with the decision. He said the court is asking for something with, open quote, no precedent, close quote. Tony, what do you make of that?
Well, firstly, it's incredibly insulting to all of the parents, all of the players who have been against this, to suggest that it's just 8 people who want some answers. And I would hope maybe the judge would take issue with that, firstly, because I believe, I don't even know what the exact number is for Justin Fields' his petition, but it's well over 300,000 people now. So maybe it's 300,008 at this point. Well, we'll just tack on the 8 Nebraska Cornhuskers. But the incredible damage, we've speculated as to certain presidents don't want people to know how they voted. I guess at this point, maybe the incredible damage would be telling the emperor that you have no clothes. I don't know what they could be hiding, except that they are hiding something, or else there wouldn't be any incredible damage. So that's the I guess the question is, what is it that they're hiding? And now that we know they're hiding something, we just want to know even more now.
Yeah, that struck me as just absolutely remarkable that a group of largely public employees, 13 of these 14 people are working for public institutions and are university presidents, that the idea that the information they use to make a decision that has been made public would be, the harm would be incredible if that information got out. Seems very odd. Mark, I saw on Twitter, you also did not seem to be a super big fan of that response from the Big Ten attorneys. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think now it's even more important than ever that we find out what they're hiding. I mean, they've clearly tipped their hand that they're hiding something. There's something they don't want us to see. I again, maybe it's just, my guess would be that it's university presidents maybe have not been forthright with their own people and how they voted, and if they are proven to be liars to their athletic directors and their athletic coaches, that's obviously a bad look. I mean, I don't know. Unless there's it could be something more sinister here, where we get to see what this is really about, which is liability and amateurism. So that could be another thing that we could maybe uncover some conversations about that occurred that went into this decision. But yeah, I think you want to find out anyway, and then when you clearly see that they're hiding something, you just want to find out even more.
Yeah, it's the kid who walks into the room with something behind their back. It's like, what's behind your back? Nothing. Well, come on, there's got to be something back there. Nothing. If you're a parent, you don't stop asking questions. You need to know if there's scissors back there or something else. Shifting to recruiting now, Buckeyes just landed a commitment from 2021 defensive lineman Tyliek Williams. He's a 4-star prospect from Virginia. Mark, that's a name that hadn't been getting talked about a ton as a potential commit until pretty recently. What does he bring to the class?
Yeah, I mean, he's like a big run stuffer. He's a one-tech guy. He's 315 pounds. Definitely a guy who eats space, but he's very nimble for a guy his size. If you watch his huddle film, his junior film, he's used as kind of a stand-up rush end at certain points on the film, and so he moves up and down the defensive line at the high school level. At the college level, he'll definitely be probably a one-tech, but they needed another body here after Tumisi Adeleye decommitted. That was a setback for them. I think they probably viewed him as a 3-tech, but they definitely needed another defensive tackle in this class. And the two guys they keep waiting it out on, Tywone Malone, JT. Those guys, they could be February decisions, and so you can't really go into January with just Jack Sawyer and Mike Hall, as good as those two guys are. So I think this was a move to, ensure that you have at least 3 guys as you chase some of these other guys. They're in on Justice Boone, a 4-star defensive end, coming to Florida as well. So, you don't want to, he's probably a name that should be out there a little bit more now than what he is. They just offered him a few weeks ago, but so it's really just a move to protect yourself. You don't want to go into January with just 2 defensive linemen in a class where you were hoping to get about 5. So probably a smart move here with the uncertainty around recruiting visits here the next few months, and a guy that I know they've liked for a while. They offered him back in April, so it was just kind of a thing of I think it was kind of waiting to see kind of how this would all play out with the visits. They probably would have liked to get him on campus first, but it's kind of time for everyone to make a decision right now. Recruits either got to lock in a spot, or coaches got to, go full bore on guys they like. So that's kind of where we're at.
The lights are coming up at the bar. It's time to time to pick a dance partner.
Yep.
There is a much more detailed conversation about this latest commit on the Gibbs in the Bank podcast that dropped on it was Wednesday, sort of in anticipation of this. That is definitely worth a listen. They went into a lot more detail on sort of how the potential lack of visits could really impact this season. A little more detail on all of the remaining possible targets and where those guys could shake out and when those decisions could come. So that is definitely worth a listen. Tonight is also the first regular season week of high school football in Ohio, and I literally cannot wait to get out and see some real live sports in person. Tony, where are you headed tonight?
We headed to Marysville to watch 2022 linebacker Gabe Powers committed to Ohio State already. So, yeah, Tom, I'm like you. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to get out. I don't even care what direction. I'm just going to get in the car and go, and then eventually get pointed in the right direction. We've Mark and I got to go to Indianapolis last weekend. That was great, just being out. And I know you were incredibly jealous seeing the highlights on Twitter, and so that was also great because I love just rubbing your nose and stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, the weather holds out for us. But yeah, I'll be there watching Gabe Powers. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to him after the game as well.
Well, you know this is a remarkable circumstance because it is going to be raining potentially, and Tony is willing to come out of the press box and be out in the rain. This is truly unprecedented times. Mark, I know we have had had a heck of a week lining up spots where we were able to get folks in because there's been a lot of there's a lot of restrictions and all of that. Where is the rest of the Buckeye Scoop team headed this tonight for games?
Yeah. Yes. So, since you were so jealous that Tony got to go on a road trip with me last week, you'll get to go on a road trip with me to Cincinnati. We're off to Coleraine High School. They're going to host Lakota West, a pair of 2022 Buckeye commitments, Jair Brown and Tegra Shabola. Lots of other good players on both those teams as well. And, anytime you go see a team like Coleraine or Lakota West, you expect to see some young guys too that maybe you haven't seen or heard of yet. So we'll be keeping an eye on those guys. Mick Walker's going to Huber Heights Wayne versus Springfield at Springfield. That's got a ton of guys. I mean, probably 3 or 4 Ohio State targets in the 2022 class, a couple guys in 2023. So there will be plenty of content there. Bill Green is going to go see Medina and Menor. Medina has 2022 quarterback Drew Aller, who's on the Ohio State radar in that class, and also 2023 defensive end for Menor, Brennan Vernon, who will definitely be one of the front runners for the top player in the state in that class and one of the top players in the country in that class. So we're going to have coverage all over the place. So we got 4 games in the state of Ohio we're trying to cover here, and hopefully the weather does hold up for us. We can get some video for you guys and lots of good content.
Well, yes, we definitely look for that. We'll have probably stuff starting tonight and through the weekend and probably into next week, just with the number of players we're likely going to get to scout in person and talk to after games. So that there will be a whole lot of that at BuckeyeScoop.com. We will also be at tomorrow's protest, all 3 of us, at Ohio Stadium. That starts Saturday at 11 a.m. The public is invited. If you heard our conversation with Amanda Babb yesterday, the Ohio State Football Parents Association said definitely encouraging the parents, the public to come out and help support that protest. And for a week when there is no Ohio State football games officially scheduled for like 12 months, there is a heck of a lot of football going on right now. You can find all of the content about all of it at BuckeyeScoop.com. A whole lot of it is free and outside the paywall every day. And then, of course, we have even more incredible stuff, including staff chats and insider reports on our Ask the Insiders board. That's all at BuckeyeScoop.com. Also, make sure you check out all of our podcasts. Tony and I will have to drop a new episode of the Buckeye Weekly podcast on Friday since we didn't do it today. As I mentioned earlier, the Gives in the Bank podcast from earlier this week, definitely worth a listen as well. You can find all of those shows. Just search Buckeye Scoop on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, your podcast app of choice. And while you can subscribe to all of those shows, also please leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps new folks find all of our shows as well. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you spend a lot of time checking out Buckeye Scoop this weekend. We are going to have a whole bunch of content for you. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you Monday.